A spiritual awakening is the most profound, life-changing experience that you can possibly have. What's up, my friend? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Max. I help people with self-development. Now, in today's video, I would like to talk to you about what spiritual awakening is and why it's the most important experience that you can have in your life. Now, before I explain to you what spiritual awakening is, let me just tell you that if you're watching this video and you're not sure whether you're going through a spiritual awakening or not, you are going through a spiritual awakening because you can only perceive the things that you resonate with. And also know that you're a spiritual being that has incarnated into this reality to experience this earth, this physical reality. Now, for you to understand what a spiritual awakening is, you need to understand that the peculiarity about this planet Earth is that when we come here, we forget that we are spiritual beings. And that's because there's like this really dense energy on Earth that makes things physical, that the only way you can access to it is to actually forget that you're a spiritual being and you know, to experience life in like a really physical way. Now, what that causes a problem is that because you forget you are a spiritual being, you start to identify with the wrong things, basically with your ego. And the other thing that makes you to really identify with your ego is that in this planet there's like this conditioning, basically, for you to identify with your ego. Now, the way this works is that since the moment you're born, you're like basically bombarded, right, with things for you to identify with your ego, right? So first of all, you're given a name. You know, you belong to a family, you belong to an ethnic group, you belong to a race, you belong to a nationality, you have a religion, you know, and all those things are things that are basically, you know, imposed on you right away. You know, you don't get to choose which one you want. You just identify with. You just have to identify with that, right? So that is one of the things that you know, really boosts your ego, basically, because you start to see yourself in that way because other people see yourself in that way, right? So you know, someone sees you as you know, belonging to a certain race. Someone sees you as belonging to a religion. So you start to take on that identity. Okay, I'm actually, you know, I belong to this religion, I belong to this race, I belong to this ethnic group. So you know, that's one of the things that makes us to really identify with the ego, which is not really who we are. Like I said, we are spiritual beings that have an ego, but that's not who we really are, right? Now, the second thing is that in this reality, like there are powerful institutions. You know, I'm talking like school, governments, churches, and there's like this construct for you not to question anything, right? So there's this status quo on how life should be, that you should follow, right? So basically, you should you know, the typical go to school, go to university, get a well-paid job, you know, get a family, and get a nice house, get a nice car, you know, and basically the chase happiness, chase your dream reality, right? And also the other thing is that we, as we identify with the ego, right, which is the part of us that identifies with the physical experience, we also have the belief that happiness is on the physical things as well. So we have the belief that having a nice car, a nice house, and going to the nice restaurants, going to parties, we adopt the belief that those are the things that will make us happy, right? When in reality, all those are great, of course, but that's just a stimulation for the ego and for you to further identify with the ego, and it's not really what brings fulfillment and joy into your spirit, which is what you're going through as a spiritual being, right? And then having a spiritual awakening basically is waking up or of that reality construct. So having the epiphany, right? That wait, I'm actually not this ego. I'm not this identity. There's more to life than the physical things. You start to de-identify from your body, not to identify with your mind, with your thoughts, with your emotions, and you start to see that there's more to reality. That the physical things that we are taught that reality is, right? So before spiritual awakening, you identify reality through the five senses, right? So if you cannot see it, hear it, touch it, smell it, or taste it, it's not real, right? And then after a spiritual awakening, you become aware that there's like this whole spectrum of reality that we are actually just missing because we are actually not tuned into it, right? We don't have the ability to perceive it. That's when you actually have your awakening, and you start to question. Then you start to question everything, right? You start to question this status quo that I'm talking about. You may think, wait, am I really supposed to chase happiness? In like having a really good, well-paid job, in having like a family, in having a house. You start to question: is this really what I'm looking for in life? Is it really what's gonna bring me fulfillment, or am I just following the status quo without questioning anything, right? Then another thing that happens after awakening is that you will start to get into all the esoteric concepts. So you will start reading about spirituality, interpretation of the Bible. You will probably get into law of attraction material, and how actually our thoughts and our feelings determine the physical reality that we experience, right? So the idea is that your inner state is a reflection of the outer reality. So if you want to change your outer reality, you change in the inside, right? And basically, after when you have this experience, you just cannot go back to the old way of thinking, right? There's just no way that you can buy into the whole physical chase happiness with like a stimulus construct that they have laid for you. You now have this intuition, this knowledge, from your spirit, that's a part of life for sure, and it's part of being incarnated here. It's experiencing that and enjoying those things as well. But you understand that that's not that there is to this life, and and you want to explore the metaphysical, right? The unknown, basically. Now the last thing that I want to say is that not everybody on Earth is supposed to go through spiritual awakening, and because people who go through spiritual awakening, it's usually people who have had like pretty rough past experiences, right? So I don't know what it may have been for you, but you know, a lot of people have been through like child abuse, I don't know, like all kind of traumatic experiences, like a lot of depressions and anxiety, and you know, loneliness, a lot of negative experiences that basically get you to this point of really start to question everything, right? Or where you like start to question reality, because you are having such a tough experience that basically you have a breaker, right? Now I understand that that's actually like a really hard thing to do, and for a spiritual being to go through it, that means, you know, you're a pretty tough spiritual being, because you know, not everybody can handle that. So you know, it's just a reinforcement, and I'm saying this because a lot of the people who go through awakening are like you know, struggling with depression, or struggling with like you know, just with life. And I just want you to understand that it's because you can take on it, because you're supposed to experience that pain for you to get through awakening, and to see that, and you know, to break out of what they call the matrix, right? And to break out into a better life, basically. Yeah, so I think that's all I have to say for a spiritual awakening. Let me know what spiritual awakening means to you. Let me know if you're going through it, if you think you're going through it, you know, if your experiences with it. If you like this video, share it, give it a likes, subscribe to the channel if you would like to get more contents like this. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next video. Take care of you. Peace, everyone.